Good morning. Thank you, Bernhard, for your kind words. It's my honor and pleasure to be here. Someone might notice that there is a last-minute change of a speaker. I'm happy to speak again at this great conference. And, you know, at LMT, these days, we only keep those people that are 5G ready. So anybody in the middle of the night got to be ready to talk about 5G, including risks, opportunities, businesses, etc. What is technology? Technology is something that comes from our knowledge, something that we have thought, materialized, done, and then we have created something. If we see at the pace of evolution, it's roughly 4,000 years ago when the first people started to live here in Latvia. Our great capital city, Riga, is slightly more than 800 years old. And if we go on, we see that this is developing quicker and quicker. All new technologies, innovations, everything, say, just 26 years ago, which is not that big amount of time. First mobile network was started in Latvia. Multiple generations of 2G, 3G, 4G, and now we are in a 5G readiness in the beginning of the 5G era. We also look at that as we are in an industrial revolution. It has been spoken like 5 or so years about the Industry 4.0. Some mention other buzzwords like M2M, machine-to-machine networks. These days it's IoT, it's more and more robots in our networks, in our everyday life. And what we see in a very near future, that currently we have more humans in our network than devices. And that's common to all operators around the globe. We will see more and more robots, and we will see something that is called massive IoT. I'll speak a bit later. Latvia is a very good country, not just it's very green and nice, and well, half a year is almost sun shining, and then it's a bit darker, but what we also have, it's a great place to work anywhere, everywhere. We have the best coverage of technologies. We use most gigabytes, so to say, per capita, and there are only very, very few countries like Finland ahead of us. They have a slightly bigger tradition, they're slightly longer time independent, and we see more than 10 gigabytes a month per SIM card, which is wow. And not so far away, say multiple years ago, we had counted gigabytes, and there are some operators around the globe that still count megabytes and charge their customers accordingly. This is one of the very, very hard to read but very important slide. 5G, I would say it has two key components. One component is technology, which is significantly less than what it touches, because the technology itself is great, but it needs to be good for something. And these are some of the words, some of the technologies, and some of them also activities which are meaningful and useful. And 5G, I would say the key thing is that changes, improves processes, changes perception, changes the way companies work, and it's a business enabler. I will not go very much into MBA type of speech during this presentation, but at the end of the day, it's very true, and we will see much more connected devices. And it used to be this situation when a device had a physical SIM card. It was enabled, then it talked to the network. It could have some cloud service, enterprise service behind. It sent some information, it was processed, maybe something sent back. With the 5G, we are looking to technologies where devices, and think big, it could be like big trucks, maybe 20 trucks, driving a meter behind each other, and making aware other tracks of road conditions, speeds, maybe something else important than those. Technologies are possible only if you have proper infrastructure in place. And 5G is one of those great technologies that allows to devices communicate locally on the edge, so to say, not just over the network and back. Internet development, quickly note, I already mentioned that the generations are evolving. The good thing and great thing, ITU, some other working groups are talking about it, that 5G for some period of time should be the last real G people care, because with 5G we overcome, or come to the edge, I would say, come to the edge of the physical limits. Technology-wise, it's less milliseconds, better speed. I'll touch upon it later. And then we would more try to look how can we, basically as an operator, help businesses to develop, because telecommunication companies used to provide connectivity, mobile operators provide a SIM card. SIM card is provided. Latvia has more than 100% penetration. Everybody has unlimited voice data, everything. It roams in Europe, it roams everywhere. Basically, this is done. It's very good, it's useful, it will continue to be there. But with 5G, we are stepping in the next step. There was maybe somebody of you attended Territory conference a couple of weeks ago with real equipment, together with our vendor partners. The speed was achieved 1.4 gigabits. Last year it was around gigabit, and with latency of 4 milliseconds. The latency of 4 milliseconds is something that changes dramatically the overall computing environment, because we used to be able to go to the cloud, say, last 10, 15 years, we consolidated data centers, we aggregated data, processed everything there. When you need close to the real-time something, well, we're not talking yet about surgeries, heart operations remotely, but this is something that could be done with those technologies. We cannot afford to go to the data center and back. We don't have time. As some of my friends who studied physics love, the speed of light is our key problem now. And that leads to another related technology I will not talk much today, which is edge computing, which comes very well together with 5G, because we have to do something, make decisions, automated decisions on the edge. Could be our base station, could be something else, but very close, so we don't have to go miles or kilometers to the data center and back. This is a good slide on what else is 5G and what is already covered by 4G. There are fun stories. There are some very cool friends of mine who said, wow, you're talking 5G. Can we have the first or one of the first base stations? And when we come back and say, look, I love you too, but please tell me, what exactly is your problem? We come at the end of the day that everything they need could be done already in 4G, or in some rare cases is not yet possible. I mentioned already latency. We are talking 1 to 10 milliseconds. Speed has very important two sides, so to say. One is the absolute speed, which is gigabits, potentially up to 10 gig for an individual device. But the speed for one individual device generally is less complicated than ensuring that 10,000 devices can each have 50 megabytes, which is a very decent speed and can play all the videos, gather all the information real time. It's cool. If you have 50 gigs at home, 5 family members happily browse everything they need. And the old type of networks were not able to cope with, say, millions or billions of devices simultaneously. So we have to change them, and this is what is addressed with 5G also in a component of speed. Capacity, we will have to have more towers, base stations, antennas, radios, but again, we will be able to cover the areas we will not be able to cover so far. We use much broader spectrum, so the higher the spectrum, sort of the fastest the speed, we can work on that. Mobility, there is a studies and also real-life examples show that with 4G latest versions, we have, say, 250 kilometers per hour, say, moving train, and it works. With 5G, we will go more than that. 500 is anticipated to be soon, probably even more. Low maintenance costs. Imagine if you have a corporate environment of IT, you would probably have 10, 20, 100, maybe a couple of hundred servers, workstations, some travelers, some other devices to manage. If you have a sensor network for some reason, some smart metering, something that looks after something, you may have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, even here in Latvia, of those devices. What you really need as an enterprise and as IT governance unit or security guys, you need to be able to manage those devices. And 5G, together with vendors and standardization, come to the scenario where you can easily, as they say, point and click. It's been too long in this industry, don't believe it immediately, but the idea behind it that you can manage those thousands and thousands of devices with a low maintenance costs. And device density, if we are talking like a couple of million devices per square kilometer, that's a lot. We haven't had that yet. This is where 5G leads us. Super low latency, mentioned already, existing 4G is roughly 30 milliseconds, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, but that's roughly. Yeah, so 5G goes as low as 1 millisecond. A couple of nice pictures, self-driving cars. Self-driving cars need to communicate with each other, otherwise they would crash immediately or stop immediately. So this is a very hot topic. You're very welcome to see one of our self-driving cars in our booth. Low maintenance costs come also with the battery life. It is very important that each and every sensor device doesn't have the battery to be changed like once a year. Reality now is roughly once a year. The aim of 5G and the promise of 5G is device battery lifetime of 10 years. That dramatically decreases the cost of maintenance, so no engineer needs to replace either device or battery or both. So this is something that will be very, very important. Internet speed, yeah, it could always be faster, but, well, in this lovely country, Latvia, we don't struggle with internet speeds. We sometimes need to put an extra booster if it's underneath something, but usually we are very, very good. Benefits, yeah, mentioned money. It's all about business. 5G is about business, and it should bring business value. It should do it quicker, so money, time, productivity at the end of the day. Some people, some publications say, well, with new technology, some also blame 5G, some blame AI. We will not have to have human beings, you're all going to be fired. That's not true. We are just changing professions, and the real human impact is that there are places, and like very dangerous places. Currently, we still send firefighters in the danger of death to deal with fires. In near future, well, we have some good examples already, but it would be very wise to save people's life and not risk them, and then there may be drones, maybe something else, some advanced technology which can do the work for the people. No, dirty, I really like this one because they are very boring jobs, and we are doing some of the very boring jobs. I will not mention not to offend anyone, but again, what can be defined and put in an algorithm and in a communication structure, great, we will still need people, but not doing this very, well, easy, sort to say, but very boring job, but to advance them, maybe to run those systems, to improve them, and a lot of other possibilities. We have a claim that future is mobile only. Of course, we realize that mobile is the key component, and we see that more and more of an internet traffic is coming from mobile devices. Actually, Latvia has bypassed a lot of countries in this ratio. Interesting fact is that LMT is also second largest internet provider, which is only because those mobile devices are, for some people, the key access to the internet. And we, of course, are talking not only about internet, but there are a lot of closed networks, data transfers, which use same technologies but are not exposed to the internet. Deep convergence of industries is one of the promise of 5G, which would be the redefinition of business models, how businesses interact with each other. Currently, we have still a lot of meetings, a lot of human presence. Humans are necessary. They will be necessary. I'm pretty sure that particularly this crowd here will have a job with all IT-related, security-related for, well, 20 years is my guess at least. It couldn't be all automated, but we could have much better tools. Also, as security professionals, there are a lot of things we still do manually. There are things that we could do much faster and real time. Use cases, enhanced mobile broadband with extreme capacity is something I mentioned already. Mission critical, we could have sensors everywhere. It could be your borders, guards, well, you name it, everything. And the massive Internet of Things, which is relatively low cost, because at the end of the day it will still cost some money, which will cover all the business areas we need, and with the density high enough to cover what's needed. A video? Yeah, well, this would have been the end of the presentation, but again, this is a cybersecurity conference. It's here in Riga and Latvia, and one of the key conferences here. If we talk a little bit about security risks, well, they are all here. We have devices, we have vulnerabilities, we have much more devices. They are interconnected. We should look at not just the device itself and its sort of perimeter, but also the device interconnection. AI comes in. The bad news is that not only good guys are using artificial intelligence in order to predict something, to think better, faster. So this is something that is inevitable. As I mentioned, I see more demand for cybersecurity. I really enjoyed this morning when Ms. Baibakashkina said that, yeah, they are hiring. That's good. If CERT is hiring, Computer Emergency Response Team, then we'll see the country in a better shape. And, well, CERT is doing a great job, and there is always place for improvements and more work. And responding to, well, will security experts all be replaced with artificial intelligence? I believe no. But again, we would probably not do very low intelligence manual work, like morning read of a log files with pressing page down or any other key and looking, maybe there is something red. Okay, most of us are probably in a better shape already. We have some installations in place, we have automation, orchestration tools, etc. But we will need this real time, because all this ecosystem of 5G and interconnected everything will work 24/7. We will need security operations centers which can cover these, and they will not have neither resources, well, and it wouldn't be feasible to look at each and every device is something. So we need very good eyes, ears, and other, well, sensors, sort of, and we certainly need very good advanced technology in order to help to notice, to be proactive, to upgrade before we are hacked, if it's a case of firmware, and those type of things. And I think that human beings, well, we are on a safe place if we are ready to move on, we are ready to develop, we are ready for change. So, thank you. That was my short presentation. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Any questions? I have a question while we're... Okay, there is a question.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I've seen you have a car in the lobby, which is actually powered by 5G. It is interesting if you can tell or expose about the security methods used to protect this car to prevent intruders on taking control, because I guess most of us remember researches with Jeep Cherokee and Tesla. So maybe you can comment on this. Thank you.
Yeah. We, in this era, believe that cooperation is key. actually no engineers in our company is probably the best automotive engineers. So what we basically do, the approach is we cooperate. We cooperate with car manufacturer vendors themselves. We cooperate with test tracks. We cooperate with vendors that supply 4G, 5G, and other technologies. They have cybersecurity excellence centers where we are part of and taking active part. So what we also are doing, we never deploy something to a customer if it's a production something which has not been tested on both on load and penetration tests for security. So with cars, this is the beginning of a journey. We are not offering you, hey, let's buy to our partners this and that self-driving car, but the approach immediately is to work with teamwork, work with all the skill sets in order to bring the best possible technology and security.
What you can say about 5G network implementation in Latvia and when it really works?
Well, we have had real working 5G test labs already. A couple of weeks ago, this was real demonstration. It was 5G itself, not just ready for 5G. And we are looking next year to be the 5G enabler. So yeah, this is our plan to do commercial implementation next year.
Any more questions? From my side.
Sure.
So, as you explained in your presentation, we're now beating the speed of light with the 5G we have. Well, okay, we are attempting to soon to be, because we have maxed out the capacity for technical limits.
True.
Is there anything that we're currently developing, something next? Is there going to be a 6G or OMG or anything else that we can talk about in the near future?
5G is the G which would be the last G in the numbers for extensive period of time because it has generations. They have a roadmap for more than 10 years to be deployed. So 6G, nothing we're going to see soon. And I'm not aware of very successful cases yet breaking the speed of light. What we can do, we go as close as possible to and achieve the speeds both for a lot of devices, reasonable speed as well as peaks to the gigabits, 10 gigs, and possibly more.
A follow-up question to the whatever gentleman asked about the cars
is,
since you're one of the leading technology implementers here in Latvia, when do you think we're going to see self-driving cars on streets of Riga as a mainstream communication?
I'm afraid I cannot give a precise answer to that. It's a long journey, and it is very important to deploy something that is very, very safe. We would say with certainty that there are tasks which will be doable with self-driving or self-flying something relatively soon. I would say that's 2, 3, 4 years. Completely self-driving car requires a lot of things. That's not about just technology driving, it's legislation, it's all that type of, which we are not alone. Again, this is going to be a long journey to the self-driving city completely. And maybe it's not going to be completely driving 100%. Maybe there are some humans left who are still enjoying driving.
Anyone else? I have a final question. So we're getting bigger, smarter, faster, more interconnected. Is that our weakness? What do you think?
It is also an opportunity. It's both. It's risks and opportunities. With everything's connected, as they say, is unavoidable. But we, as individuals and a company and our partners, we can build it better. So it's going to be connected anyway, and we are putting our efforts so we have a state-of-art, secure, safe, with, well, eco-friendly and all those very important things in place. So that's how we are building our future.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Applause to Egons.
Thank you.